Okay.
And this is a week in my life. Monday was a little tough. It was not the best way to start the week, but ended it off to a good day. I had a 5-page paper due, and I kind of pulled an all-nighter. So Sunday going into Monday was a little rough, but Monday's usually my easier days. I'm in the writing minor. It's something that is only available to seniors, and you apply the fall quarter of your senior year because it's not like you can just declare the minor. So I'm in the writing minor, and that's one of our classes, like a capstone course. So I'm in my first capstone course this quarter, winter quarter, and yeah. So Mondays are really chill. Tuesdays. So Tuesdays, my day starts at 8 a.m. My first class is at 9:30, but I like to wake up a little bit earlier just to get a morning stretch in, especially because like I'm always hunched over on my laptop. So I like to wake up in the morning, get a stretch in, try to eat breakfast because that's the most important meal of the day. And I go to class. I'm in a Black Studies major, so there's a class I take. It's a pro seminar course, so that's at 9:30. Then I have another class immediately after in Embarcadero, which is in Isla Vista. It's history from the 1970s to modern day. And then immediately after that, so back to back to back, I have a Black Studies class with Professor Macaulay on Black Marxism. It's an amazing class, but by that time I'm usually really tired and hungry. So I got lunch. Tuesday, what else happened Tuesday? BSU meets. So I went to the BSU meeting. Today I finally got to sleep in. I went to my office hours with my professor. I'm writing a thesis, which is like a senior paper project, research project. So I met with my advisor. I went to my professor's office hours, talked about the readings, because right now the graduate students are on a strike. So a lot of the graduate students aren't teaching. And so they should be teaching. The COLA is the cost of living adjustment. So UC Santa Cruz students are, doing this coalition, and we stand in solidarity with them, and our TAs are too. So I went to the office hours to kind of learn more about the readings, and then I ate my amazing meal prepped pasta. It's kind of gone now. There's pasta and asparagus. It's delicious, and now I'm here to write another paper. Senior year things.
And that's it.
Oh, this is so cool.
So
Very
yes, that was our star, Alexandra. And yeah, tell us about your courses this quarter as a student.
Yeah, everyone. So hello. A little glimpse into my life. Yes. So I am currently writing a thesis. A thesis is kind of like a really great opportunity to get really involved in your academic research. So one of the really cool things about coming to a UC, especially UC Santa Barbara, we are notorious for being research institutions. We're research one institution. So for me, it's just been a really great opportunity to get involved in things that I think are really interesting and like just fascinating. So I'm very fascinated by patterns of migration and how people move and what that means and what that looks like. So this year, particularly in this weird quarter that I'm zooming my way through graduation, I have taken classes that have ranged from Black queer theory to like in the video, U.S. history from 1970s to modern day. I've taken writing courses. I've taken a couple of science classes. Probably wouldn't do it again. I've taken a wide range of courses that have really helped me abundantly understand what is necessary to kind of move into my PhD program that I'm looking to apply to in the fall. So my classes range from quite a bit of things. My main focus right now is my thesis, which is a 3-part course series. So I take a 4-unit class in fall, which is like when we plan what we're doing. I do a 4-unit in spring, and then from spring I go into from winter I go into spring quarter where I start writing. So kind of just writing into my thesis. It's been a really interesting process because I have, like everyone else, been watching what's been happening in the world, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to interview people? But currently my thesis project is on how Ethiopian immigrants built community through like churches and restaurants in the 1980s and 90s, and what that looks like to second generation and third generation American born Ethiopians. So my classes have been a little interesting. As a senior, we have a little bit more flexibility. but I've had a wide range of opportunity to really get involved in my work and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for me, my courses range from just taking some general education requirements and trying to get that out the way, you know, now that I'm a senior, and upper division courses and film classes. And one class that I really enjoyed last quarter was about rock and roll in the 80s. And like, it was like a music biopic. And since I'm really interested in documentaries, I like the whole like history and like research that goes into actually like making a film. So right now, even though I'm not working on a film in a class per se, I'm working on films outside the classroom, which I feel like as a film major, I was prepared to do that with the film history courses that I was taking over the 4 years that I've been at UCSB. So yeah, we're gonna go into our PowerPoint presentation. I just saw Tia is on, so hello.
Welcome. It's so good to have you all here.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your acceptance to UCSB. We're gonna go ahead and transition into our PowerPoint slide. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you all. Give me 1 second here. So we're gonna kind of just talk about like our experiences as students, and what that looks like in a time now going to school at UCSB, Zoom UCSB. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this here. Alrighty, share. Here we go. And alrighty. Can you all see my screen?
Awesome.
Awesome. Again, let me move this out of the way. There we go. Cool. So I'm gonna go over briefly, just really quickly, about like the Black student experience here at UC Santa Barbara. You know, Jalia and I can't speak for the entire community, but we'll definitely give you the biggest insight into our experiences and things that we've seen kind of coalesce over the years. So UC Santa Barbara, it has 3 colleges: the College of Letters and Sciences, Engineering, and Creative Studies. Most of our students, you know, range from a variety of departments, colleges, with a variety of different departments and focuses. So I'm going to kind of leave the academic parts, because I know you're probably all looking forward to hearing about, you know, what is it like to be a student here, you know, what are the classes like being a Black student, or, you know, what's like to engage with a professor. I think this is really important, talking about the professional programs that we have. We have students who are from pre-health into STEM, from pre-law, who are looking to do their MA or their PhD in education. And what makes UCSB a little bit different is that we actually have a TMP program, which stands for Technology Management Program. And TMP is a really interesting interdisciplinary approach, meaning you work in a variety of departments and focuses between tech and management and education. You know, a little bit of sociology is incorporated in it, and it's a really cool program as an undergrad that you can actually take and get a certificate in. One of my really close friends actually did the TMP program while she was here, and it was really cool because she graduated a quarter early, so she's already kind of starting her life into the STEM sphere, and has worked at now is working at a startup in the Bay Area. And this was one of the biggest things that her recruiter, or like boss, I guess you could say, kind of, you know, patted her on the back for, was because like she knew coding and a variety of things. So the Black life on campus, some of the pictures here are current students, some are graduates of UCSB. There are a couple events that we've held. The room here, let me see if I can, I'm trying to like circle. Oops. I was gonna try to circle. Oh my goodness, going backwards. So like the rooms that you see here and here are actually in our African Diaspora Cultural Resource Center. The ADCRC, which is the nickname that it's known for. It's a kind of a Black resource on campus. It's like a safe space, community space. We have events there. We've had barbershop talks. We've had club meetings there. We've had a variety of things. So it serves like a special home for us on campus. This is my favorite part to talk about, and then I'll hand it over to Jalia in a sec, is the history of UC Santa Barbara. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm a philosophy and Black studies double major. That was strongly influenced by the guy right over here in the little suit in the far right-hand corner, Yoel Haile. This campus has a really rich history of Black student activism, of Black community here, and it's something that I take a lot of pride in, just because from 1968, when 12 brave Black students took over North Hall, which at the time was the only building on campus that had computers, which is like a big thing in the 60s. They took over the room with buckets of water, and they demanded for better treatment and a variety of different things, like the Black Studies Department, the creation of different focuses that led to the creation of Chicano studies, to feminist studies, to Asian American studies. And it's one of those really cool things that a lot of people don't know about. And that's what I think sets UCSB apart and kind of speaks to the rich legacy that our Black community is. So 1968, they asked for a variety of things, and amongst them was the creation of the Black Studies Department. It was the first in the UC system and one of the first in the United States, next to the first Black Studies Department that opened in the Bay Area at SFSU. Funny story, they're on the semester system, which is why everyone considers them the first, so they beat us to it. But nevertheless, the Black Studies Department has been home to some of the most rigorous interdisciplinary scholars and faculty members, ranging from departments of sociology to history to political science to, in some ways, even psychology, linguistics, and economics. The Black Scholars Hall was established in 1995. Marcus, my boss, actually was one of the very few and first residents to live in the Black Scholars Hall, and it's still around to this day. So it's a very important space where freshmen can live together in one space that's kind of unique to a Black community. So you can wear your bonnet and walk into the hallways, talking about doing each other's hair, things like that. But I'm really excited to announce, actually, that the Black Scholars Hall has been extended into third and fourth year housing, meaning as in the Black Scholars Hall is no longer limited to the freshman year dorm, but we now offer Black scholar housing or living learning community housing for Black students in the university apartments. So that's kind of important because UC Santa Barbara is the only UC campus to guarantee full four-year housing for their students. So if you come and you live in the dorm and you stay in housing into your second year, your third and fourth year, you'll be able to live in the university apartments. And if you choose to do that, you get to live on the Black Scholars Hall in a university apartment, which is really cool. Lastly, the 2012 demands, you kind of see pictured to the right-hand side, was a group of very strong, courageous students who really took the focus towards, introducing Black psychologists on campus. They kind of upped up what was supposed to be a follow-up of the 1968 demands. They were able to bring Meredith Merchant, Dr. Meredith Merchant, who is now promoted to an executive position at the CAP Center, which is the Counseling and Psychological Services here on campus, and Mario, Dr. Mario. They both have served as very strong pillars in Black community. They attend community events. They hold private office hours. They're here for us, and it's kind of nice to be able to go see and talk to someone who looks like us and understands our variety of different backgrounds, because Blackness isn't like one specific identity. It's very incumbent of different things. I'm going to hand this over to Jalia.
Yes, so these are some statistics about the Black community at UCSB. So there's about 13 clubs and organizations, which Alexandra has contributed towards. The average GPA upon graduation is a 3.14, and there's 4 average time to graduate, which I'm assuming it's 4 years, which is our average time to graduate. And then 91% of Black students on campus return after their first year. So these are very good accolades to have. So if you do decide to come to UCSB, you'll be a part of contributing towards our great family here.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is really important and really, really cool about UCSB, I know that these numbers of our GPA have kind of increased since this last slide was created. But what I really want to focus on is the retention of first years that come back to UCSB, particularly Black freshmen. The first year of college is a lot different than what a lot of people, I guess, describe it to be. Everyone says, oh, it's really hard, or oh my God, you're gonna have so much fun at that party school, or something like that. And I think the experience really ranges from student to student. So I know my freshman year was actually my best year academically. And then after that, I got a little lost. Yeah, got a little lost in the sauce my second year. But one thing that really speaks to our community is the constant mentorship and guidance that we have. So for me, I got involved into academics and research, not relatively late, but not as early as most of my peers. I got involved my junior year. So a lot of people get involved their sophomore year through the McNair Scholars Program. It's a federal program that receives federal funding. Well, it's a campus program that receives federal funding for sophomores to be paired with faculty members who get to do like one-on-one research. A lot of students decide to join McNair, or they apply to become a McNair scholar because it's really, really focused towards getting you to graduate school, specifically PhD programs, by taking you to a variety of academic conferences, to presenting your own research, to meeting with faculty and things like that. I will tell you that McNair is not the only way to get involved in research. I actually was rejected from McNair, but it didn't stop me. And I got involved by just building personal relationships with my own faculty members on one-on-one. So I was doing research with my professor who taught my class. I went to his office hours and I was like, yo, I really like what you're teaching. And it's kind of what I want to do with my life. Or I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I really want to work with you. And so 2 years later, brought me to where I'm at now, writing a senior honors thesis in Black Studies. Nevertheless, these departments that we have, like the Black Resource Committee, the Center for Black Studies Research, and the department as a whole, serves as a beacon of light for students who are interested in a different set of departments. So if you're interested in one of my counterparts, for example, or my co-thesis members, she's doing hers on the retention of Black freshmen who changed their major from STEM to humanities because of the process that universities kind of filter Black students out of the technology and STEM sphere. And a lot of the base of her work has come from the Center for Black Studies Research. So there's very little data and statistics in these departments about what that looks like being a Black first year in STEM. And my co-thesis member, my counterpart, a comrade, is doing hers through the department, but also utilizing the Black Studies as the Black Studies department as a basis for receiving materials for her research. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it over to Jalia.
So this is some of our UCSB faculty. Right here in the middle, we have, Dr. Ann Charity Hoodley, and she's the Director of Undergraduate Research for the College of Letters and Science. And over to, how would I say, our left, we have Dr. Sharon Tidiga, which is the Director of the Center for Black Studies Research, and Kufi Raf, 99, founder of I Love Being Black. Oh yeah, and you see it on his shirt right there. He's on his shirt, I Love Being Black. And I feel like Alexandra would have a lot to say on this man.
So yes, so Professor Jeffrey Stewart, he was a professor, he's still a current professor of Black Studies, was the former chair of the department. He's my thesis advisor. He is a recipient of the 2018 National Book Award for his book, The New Negro, The Life of a Landlost. But he's also a Pulitzer Prize winner. So like Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer Prize, so did Professor Dr. Stewart. So it's really cool because these three professors who are pictured here on the screen, amongst many more, really transform and have constantly put UCSB on the map. I've worked with each of them individually, especially Dr. Ann Charity Hoodley. She focuses on linguistics, and I never thought I would be studying Ebonics or African American Vernacular English as an opportunity to really showcase that, not just to scholars, but to community members as well, to think about how our identity and our community is actually really woven into the idea of how we speak, and how language is a really powerful tool and how we communicate and share our culture for generations to come. Professor Stewart received his BA in philosophy and then later received his PhD in history. So the way he approaches it and why his book was such an award-winning book, as thick as it is because he really looked at the lens of how we seem to think of Black history, right, in the lens of philosophical approach. And so I don't want to get too crazy in talking about their research, but nevertheless, they've been beacons of light for our departments, from linguistics to Dr. Tediga having be the director of the Center for Black Studies Research, has been helping my counterpart that I mentioned earlier, who's been doing her work in Black STEM and Black STEM related things. research. I
And
feel like we kind of talked a lot about that.
for student research, I can talk about, so I used the IRCA grant, which is the Undergraduate Research Creative Activities Grant. And I used it primarily in my second and third years for like film projects. So what they have you do is you'll need like a proposal, and then you'll need like a mentor to like support your proposal. And it doesn't have to be anything dealing with artistic things. You can also do it for like research. So ours, since it was a documentary, ours was both research and creative activities. So we received that, and it's about like $750, and it goes a long way, especially with like student like projects. You need the funding. So having IRCA, having IRCA is a great resource to take advantage of if you find yourself ever needing like research archival materials or stock footage. So,
or even buying batteries.
Or even buying batteries.
Yeah. So, so that is a glimpse into, you know, our student research. I think we've briefly talked about like the different departments that exist, but also, you know, looking at how you can get involved directly. So as a freshman, a lot of people wait till they're like a sophomore to kind of get their bearings at the school. So people come in knowing what they want to do. My earliest research experience is actually a FRAP, which is Faculty Research Assisted Project and or program. And so FRAP is like a really cool way where like maybe professor isn't really like, maybe you don't know what you want to do, but you kind of want to see what's out there. So different professors will post what they need. Like maybe I need a research assistant to help me, you know, pour vials into the things that are behind homegirl on the screen, you know, or actually, you know, doing archival research. There's a variety of different, I guess, skill sets and requirements and opportunities that you can even get involved, even if you're looking for like a low commitment or kind of like a first time experience thing. Let's go up to the next slide. Oh, student resources. So pictured here is our student
range of that.
Yeah. Pictured here is our student resource building. It's home to the variety of resources that students need, from material to mental to social to physical. This is not the only building on campus that holds those resources, but it's definitely one of the largest that hold those resources. The student resource building has CLAS, which stands for our Campus Learning Assistance Services. CLAS is kind of like a tutoring service, but it's not a remedial program. So a lot of people are always hesitant to come because they feel like, oh, like I know how to do, you know, Chem 1 or whatever. I need help with this problem in particular. But what's really cool about CLAS is that like I'm a writing tutor there, so I help students that are graduate level all the way to the undergraduate level, writing papers, reviewing their papers. There are classes that we teach, or there are classes that are student led, that are student taught and student like verified. So it's not just a bunch of random students who are teaching, that are trained and equipped with being able to help, particularly freshmen and transfer students, but also freshmen, sophomores, and juniors and seniors. In bio, chem, computer science, earth science, geology, all the sciences, all the sciences. And one really cool part about this whole thing is that it's completely free. So a lot of tutoring services at other campuses will be private or they require some type of fee. But as a student, these services are offered to you for free. And my favorite part about CLAS that a lot of people don't know about is we actually offer services like time management, how to manage stress. These are one-on-one personal lessons where you work with like career services, well, not really career services, but you work with a CLAS staff member to kind of develop a good steady schedule, a good steady routine. And I personally love it. I mean, my freshman year, I was like, it's kind of whack. And then I got really stressed out from all the different responsibilities that I was involved in on campus. And I started to examine my research at a different lens. And I went to CLAS like, oh my God, how do I do research and be a full-time student and work? And so I sat down with Jay Stemmel. She's the one who's notorious for being home to CLAS. We sat it out, we duked it out. Next thing you know, I got a 4.0 GPA. Not as easy as it sounds, but it's definitely doable. And so EOP is also home to this building.
I wanted to speak on EOP a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay, awesome. So yes, the SRB is also home to EOP, which is the Education Opportunity Program, which is a great resource for low-income students and also first-generation, like college students. And I've been also like one of ones who uses EOP, especially they have the laptop grant, which is excellent because you don't really I feel like in college, you don't really estimate how much you're going to need technology, but technology is such a big part of the collegiate experience. And especially now that we're not actually in classes and instruction is remote. So EOP comes in clutch with that. Also, EOP takes care of, I believe, any additional fees that like the student themselves cannot bear, where when it comes to like student health, they also help take care of your bills. And really anything that a student would need but may not have the financial like ability to do so, EOP comes in with that as well. So it can vary from like resources for like your actual like college needs to like resources just on a human level. So yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, and then lastly, you know, we have the Women's Center here, where you can come and walk in to get free pads, free tampons, and a variety of other women and feminine, you know, items, hygiene items. I always think it's really important because sometimes there are those days where those emergencies happen, and there's a bunch of them all over campus that are free. So this is like one end of the campus. We also have another one called the UCEN, which is the University Center. The University Center is a really cool place to kind of, you know, get some food. The food bank is there. The student food bank is there. So there have been days where money's a little tight and I need to get groceries because I live off campus. And you can just show your student access card and then you can literally go grocery shopping there. They have fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, wheat thins, rice, beans, tomatoes, everything. And right now, especially in the crisis, the COVID crisis, students are able to still receive access to those services. They decided to do like brown bagging. So they create like these super huge brown bags that have like rice and like super core essentials that students can come and get. So they're still very full functioning, student ran, student led, and it's a really cool space. The pictured here is the other side of the Student Resource Building. So we were
one thing to add to the SRB is also home to all the cultural centers.
Yeah. So on this side, where we were kind of like stationed in this corner, now you're looking at it. This is actually Black Family Weekend. Kareen Lewis, who's the speaker right there at the podium, was the actual and former director of the African Diaspora Cultural Resource Center, which is what Jalia was speaking to. It's one of the cultural resource centers that are there. The Chicanx, Latinx Cultural Resource Center, Middle Eastern, MERC, the Middle Eastern Resource Center, the Asian American Resource Center, Indigenous, Native American Resource Center. But in this slide particularly, we kind of want to talk about like the different programs and resources that exist. We talked about it briefly, but what I'm really excited to announce that's not listed here is our Office of Black Student Development that came out of our most recent Black Student Demands, where all of these things that you see here from Jalia, from the Black Student Engagement Program to the ADCRC. The ADCRC will still physically be there, but a lot of its material resources, like the scholarships that we get emailed, the potential internships and fellowships and job opportunities on campus, EOP resources, events that are happening on the Black Scholars Floor, orgs that Black students are putting on, from the East African Student Association to the BSU, the Black Student Association. The new Office of Black Student Development will serve as a home to all of these different things that are happening on campus to disseminate that information to students. It will be a place where students can get academic preparation, where they can find financial, merit-based financial, supports and scholarship and things like that. So this picture is actually from our Black Family Weekend, which is a really cool event that we do every year. Black Family Weekend is kind of where all the Black students' families come, and we just have a giant cookout. It's a lot of fun. The food's really good.
It is.
And you
the
can
food
see,
is amazing.
DJ Quick in the corner busting out the Cupid Shuffle.
And then we have some music going on, get the little Black Family cookout vibes out.
Yes. So that being said, BSU, next to its rich legacy on campus, also provides such a basis for students to organize, to get involved politically. My freshman year, I immediately got involved in BSU. I didn't live in the Black Scholars Hall, so I lived in Santa Catalina, which is, if you're as a prospective student trying to figure out where to live, I highly recommend. But I lived in Santa Catalina. It's a mile off campus, so I always had to make the trek to come to BSU meetings. BSU meets every Tuesday from 5 to 7. I was really fascinated by the work that they were doing, and I got involved as a freshman representative. And then my sophomore year, I worked myself into the leadership development director because I was serving on the student senate. I ran for student government. I ran for a position on student government council, and I ran and won this position for senator. From there, I worked my way into the financial director my junior year last year, and then this year I decided to take pump the brakes and just enjoy my senior year. But it's a wide variety. All the roles that I listed, like the financial director, I like learned the ins and outs about fiscal responsibility. I learned how to balance a checkbook, even though like we don't really have one. I did a variety of things as leadership development director. I helped people create LinkedIn. We took profile pictures. We did resume workshops. And so a lot of these really cool resources are not only home to the BSU, but BSU does serve as like a really strong community basis. We have a Black group chat on GroupMe. There's like 400 of us in this group chat, always talking throughout the day. So it's a really great way to kind of maintain community and solidarity.
Ooh, student organizations. So this is a list of the Black student organizations that we have on campus. Would you like to talk about yours, Alex, the East African Student Union particularly?
Yes, I would love to. So this picture is really cool of this woman and her hair. It's actually a flyer that a student drew. It was an event that BSU put on, which is about like hair and the politics of hair. So that was a really cool event. I remember going to it. But I am the president and founder of the East African Student Association. ESA is actually the first African student organization on campus since my freshman year, which was formerly known as PASU, the Pan-African Student Union, that came from when there was a WASU and the ESA. Is like a really cool stuff, that tree that kind of branches into the history of African student orgs on campus. But as you can see, we have a wide variety and a lot more student organizations that are here on campus. But one thing, I'm Ethiopian, so one thing that was really important to me was maintaining like my African identity and like really sharing that with my brothers and sisters here at campus. So I felt like BSU was feeling a lot of the heat, right? Because there's so many students who come from so many different backgrounds, and like BSU is the face of Black students on to a white campus, and there's a Black community, like the one thing that we have, right, to kind of clench onto our identity. So I decided to start my own org. So I started the East African Student Association 2 years ago. We were 3 people, and by the end of the quarter, which we started, which was the end of fall, we went from 3 to 15, and then by the end of last school year, we went from 15 to 20, and now we're at 25 members strong. I'm really excited that I know this org will kind of pass down to the next generation of leaders. Even though the title sounds relatively exclusive, I actually find a lot of pride in it because we really try to push the notions of African and African identity and break down the stereotypes of Pan-African unity and African identity. So it's open to all students. It's not exclusive. It's something that I really take pride in because we were supposed to have a cultural show this year, but Corona said, no way, Miss Rona, that's the opportunity. But last year we held the cultural show. It was our first annual cultural show, and it was awesome. We had Zimbabwean artists perform. We had Jamaican artists perform. So it was very Pan-African in approach. Nevertheless, I really look forward to what the years have to come with the organization. We've done Buna time, which is like coffee time. We've just talked about different intercultural struggles that we face on the continent and how that relates to like liberation efforts in America and Black liberation efforts in America. So as you can tell, UCSB does have a lot of political organizing across its campus organizations, but we also know how to have fun. ESA did a Black hair event this year, which is really cool. We collaborated with BSU. We did like hair masks and face masks and hair oils, and we still, share the recipes and try to make it now that we're kind of like in our own respective spaces. So it's a really cool spot and a really cool space. While I'm not a part of NSB, I do want to like highlight NSB. NSB is the National Society of Black Engineers. They're very small but mighty org on campus. Every year they have a conference that they go to. And so does BSU, but it's not for engineers. NSB is a really great organizing base. You don't have to be an engineer to be in the org. I used to go all the time my freshman year because I always had dinner. They always had really good food at their meetings. But a lot of the students that are in NSB get jobs at Google, they get jobs at Facebook, they're getting jobs at small Black-owned tech companies. they're getting jobs everywhere is my point. And so NSB is a really cool place to get involved with like professional development and like job opportunities when you're thinking of what's to come after graduation.
And I wanted to highlight, oh, if you could go back, Alex. I wanted to highlight the OGYG mentorship program because it was something that I was involved in. I believe, yes, it was last year, my junior year, I was an OG. So the OG stand for like bigs, and then the YGs are like littles. You know how you have big and littles. So I had my own little, and she was my YG, Samantha. And even though we were paired, she was in the STEM like area and I'm in humanities. It still fared well because I was able to like help her with that transition into UCSB from where she was from, and like really show her more of the resources and the transition and the timeline of what it means to be a Black student at UCSB. So I enjoyed that program a lot. So if you come to UCSB, that is a program that you should pay attention to.
So like I mentioned earlier, you know, we are one of the few campuses the only campus to offer guaranteed housing all 4 years. So majority of our students do live on or off campus. And if you've ever visited our campus, hopefully when this thing blows over soon, you'll actually get the opportunity to do that before you have to make your decision. I recommend you come here. But we do have a quarter-mile town. It's called Isla Vista. It's the town right next door to campus. I live in Ivy, so I live off campus. We do offer university housing that is off campus, but it's still owned by the university. So if you decide to live off campus, but still live in university-owned housing, like you'll be a part of the 82%. I decided to move out of university housing just because I was working where it required me to have my car. I was working downtown. I wanted to make some, money. Rent was a little bit cheaper. But a majority of our students do live, in university housing. All of our university housing is literally on campus or within a mile radius. So our university has a partnership with the MTD, which is the public bus services here in Santa Barbara County and Santa Barbara City. So if you show your student ID card, it's actually a free bus pass, so you never have to pay to take the bus. It takes you all the way to downtown, which is like a people know Santa Barbara to be notoriously famous for. The university is actually like 20 minutes away from downtown. If you need to go grocery shopping off campus, in Goleta, which is the town that the university is located in, you can take the bus there. I've spent a lot of bus rides to go get tacos. There's a place called Building Tacos. It's a really good place. It's one of my favorite places. So that being said, when the weather's really ugly and you're living a mile off campus, you can take the bus to go to campus to go to your classes. A lot of students bike or walk. If you choose to bike, you can put your bike on the bus. There's a lot of really cool resources and services to kind of get you moving and get you going.
Yes. Organized sports. I don't know too much about the sports, but I know that we have intramural sports, and we have 28 sports clubs and 19 Division I and NCAA teams. So,
yeah,
that means that we're pretty good.
So I can speak about our sports. We don't have a football team, but we do have a soccer team. And like I said, UCSB has a lot of cool, unique little legacies and like histories. I guess every school prides themselves in having. So for us, there's soccer games. My freshman year, I went to a soccer game. I took tortillas. It's a really big tradition here where people throw tortillas, they freeze them, and then they freeze so that when they freeze, they like come like rock hard. And then we throw tortillas onto the field that you kind of see where everyone's standing at. So it's really cool, little tradition that we have here. Soccer is one of our strongest sports amongst many others like baseball and women's rugby. But excuse me, I've never formally gotten involved with the club sport because it's a little bit of a commitment, but I did get involved with an IM team my freshman year. I played IM volleyball because I love volleyball. And IM sports are really cool ways for people to kind of like escape classes. We have basketball, we have badminton, there's ping pong, there's a variety of IM sports. Yeah, there's a variety of IM sports that people can play. And what's really cool is that people think PE stops in high school. It's not a requirement in college. But I actually took a yoga class. I took a water polo class and a volleyball and basketball class throughout my time here. And it's like a half unit, pass, no pass. One of the cool classes, and fencing. I took fencing. I got to hold a sword. I felt like Zara. My point is, there's a lot of cool things that you can do So a lot of people kind of think like, oh, if I'm not doing academics, I gotta have to like stick to the, to like socializing or partying and stuff. But there's so many things to do here, and there's such a really wide variety. I took a pottery class last quarter. It was on my senior bucket list. Now I'm really happy that I did it because the pottery class got canceled for this quarter, as did everything. But this is our study abroad presence. Is one of our students, Camila, who studied abroad in Ireland. I didn't study abroad, but I did do UCDC, which is like our domestic abroad. UCDC, the UCEAP, which is the UC-wide educational abroad program. They're the ones who do like abroad, so like outside of the U.S. And then UCDC, which is a program that I participated in, which is, as you can tell, I did a lot of my time here. I took full advantage of the resources, and I'm here to tell you about them because it's such a important role in my life. But yeah, so I did UCDC. UCDC stands for University of California, District of Columbia. The giant tower that is in the heart of downtown DC. It's a DuPont Circle. The White House is like a 10-minute walk. And I was interning last summer at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I was working with the vice president of the foundation in the Center for Policy Analysis and Research. So I was working on projects that were ranging from like the modernization of Congress, which is like looking at diversity and inclusion efforts in Congress and congressional members and their staff, all the way to preparing for the annual legislative conference where I hung out with like Maxine Waters, Ilhan Omar. It was a weekends worth of like conference workshops and really cool organizing from Black people all over the U.S. And all over the world who fly in and like huge parties and like really cool workshops. So I say that because like UCDC isn't just exclusive to politics. A lot of people do STEM there. There's a really big engineering scene in Washington, D.C. So the picture of Camila here in Ireland is just a glimpse of some of the things that our students have done. We have students who've been to Ghana. We have students who've been to Tanzania. There are students who've been to Italy and Spain and Mexico. And it's really cool because it's not just unique to UCSB. We kind of get to, when you're abroad or you're in DC, you actually get to do it with students from all over different UC campuses. So I think it's really fascinating because like I met this girl who goes to UC Irvine, and like now we're super close. We still stay in touch since our time in DC last year. So it's a really cool way to get involved. There's a lot of really great ways to kind of get your research hands deep and things like that.
Yes. And over here we have some photographs of recent alumni that have gone on to do some amazing things. One that really points out to me is Ndidi Orji, who's at NBC Universal because she's the senior vice president. And then Bridget was someone that was close to me in when I was in school. So to see her go on to do great things at Tumblr really excites me. And then we have actors, accountant, research analysts. So really, we have a wide range of people doing big things out in different fields that call out to them. So hopefully you'll be one of those people when you come to UCSB.
Yeah. Bridget was actually my freshman orientation leader.
She was?
She was the one. Yeah, she was the one who got me into Black Studies 1, and that changed my life forever.
Bridget got me into the vagina monologues.
Yeah. You want me to share a little bit what that's about?
Yes. So I did vagina monologues for 2 years. I served as the president last year of the actual troupe, which is the Women's Ensemble Theater Troupe. And that is the troupe that puts on the vagina monologues and her stories, which is a feminist collective that shares poems and plays and scripts made by Eve Ensler in the 90s. And we recite that because it's about just the many ways that women have mobilized their rights and in creative ways to talk about things from short skirts to owning their bodies to video games, and all that is included in like womanhood. And it has been even like extended out to non-binary folks as well. So I was the president of that troupe last year, and we put on the vagina monologues and her stories.
Nice. So just to kind of get close, we're almost wrapping it up, y'all. Is our Gauchos for Life mantra. So, one of the really cool things about being an alumni, I'm now learning as I transition into one, is just how tight our community is. I thought I would hate graduating, or I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. But now as I'm slowly getting out of here, especially amidst the pandemic, I think some of the most cherishing memories that I made were in my life were here at UCSB. And some of the friends I've made, are comparable to the friends that I grew up with. So I really take a lot of pride in being a gaucho. The little history that we have, like when Black students in 1968 demands that I was talking about earlier were organizing, they used to yell like, holla back, and like, I got your back. And so that kind of became a mantra that resonates throughout campus here. I think really speaks to like the Black student experience.
Yeah, exactly. You said it perfectly, Alex.
Yeah, thanks. So that kind of concludes our little, presentation that we have for you all. So excited to have you on call. I do see a question in the chat box, and someone's asking. Let me click on it over here. Question is, what is one thing that you wish you knew your freshman year that you know now?
Wow. That's a question I gotta really think about. But one thing that I wish I knew as a freshman is how many resources there really are. I feel like as a freshman, I was struggling for no reason, especially even though you have like a meal plan, but like knowing that the food bank had like food that was that students pay for in our student fees to like take advantage of. And like even with EOP and the laptop grant, like even knowing that EOP had like different services for students regardless of like technology needs or personal needs, but just to know that that thing was there that I could go to in case something did happen. So I think that would be one thing that I wish I knew as a freshman, just more of the resources and how I could take advantage of them.
Yeah, I think for me, that's a really good one, Zalia. I think for me, mine would have to be like believing in myself. I think, when you're in high school, you do all these orgs, you get involved in all these clubs and stuff to like be the perfect student to go to college. And then once you get to college, like no one really cares after that, right? So it's like if I had known that, my freshman year, I think I would have done a lot of more me things that I like to do for myself instead of like trying to attain or make myself to have the perfect resume. So I just really appreciate knowing that I could have really supported myself and believed in myself my freshman year that I believe in myself now.
That was good, Alex.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Very cool. I see one more question. Okay, y'all got the heat. So another question is asking, what is a resource that Black students use often on our campus?
I would say BSU. Yeah. I would say that's a resource. And just because BSU does like many different things, like in the clip that was shown of Alex's day in the life, you see her at the BSU like dinner table because that was one of the events that BSU had put on, which was, I forgot what it was specifically, but it was a dinner. And then there was like questions and it was just like Black, like faculty, Black students, Black counselors, all in that space eating together and also answering the prompts that the host was giving out.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, well, that kind of concludes our little webinar. Thank you all for coming. Super excited. Super happy to have you all here.
Yes.
All right, and so we will hop off.
And one more thing. If you all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at Jalia at ucsb.edu, which is JALIA at ucsb.edu, and feel free to reach out to Alexandra at her contact information.
Yeah, so please do not hesitate. Any questions between now and May 1st. We really want to see you all here in the fall. So my email is A as in apple, G as in gold, E SSE at ucsb.edu. So that's AGESSE at ucsb.edu. Alrighty, we'll see you all later, hopefully as the future gaucho. Alrighty, bye-bye.